Hey folks, we are live. Arsenal Fan Circle. I've got Gary in the house with me. Thanks, Gary, for joining.
Hello. Hi.
We're gonna win the league. No, we're not gonna win the league, Gary. We're gonna win the FA Cup now. Usually we get past the third round. It's a done deal. It's over. We're gonna march through all of the rounds. The fourth round, the round of 32, and then the round of 16. Then we get to the quarterfinals. Last year it was Sheffield United really started to warm up then. City in the semi-final, and we finished the job off against Chelsea last season. Now, of course, we know our season is going to be a little bit different this season. We have priorities, and the FA Cup is probably right now our third priority, Gary. But it's nice to get through this little hurdle yesterday against Newcastle.
Yeah, definitely. It definitely was good to get past the hurdle. It kind of gave us some answers to some questions that we have. I mean, you said it's our third. I don't know if it's our third. I don't know. It could be our easiest one, right? As far as
Yeah,
where we want to go. I mean, to get a trophy, anyways. I don't think it's where we want to be, but to definitely get something out of it and turn around at the end of the season and look back and go, look, we got this.
and very often your third priority would be one of your easier, attainable, lower hanging fruit, let's say. But like I said, we got to go through five more. We got to get five more wins before we get our hands on the cup for a 15th time.
Yep.
Last year, just to remind everyone, we beat Leeds, which is a similar fixture to what we just did against Newcastle. Yesterday, we beat Leeds 1-0. And we went on to beat Bournemouth 2-1, Portsmouth 2-0. Then we got into the quarterfinals, Sheffield United, which I feel I've got good memories of that Sheffield United game last season. We're winning that in dramatic fashion in the last minute. It kind of kicked especially the cup run. It propelled us into that semi-final against City.
Who scored that goal at the end?
Ceballos.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Was that the one where it kind of bounced off?
Bounced off of Pepe.
Okay. Yeah.
As things usually do. It bounced off Pepe's weaker leg, probably, let's say.
Yeah.
And and then Aubameyang kind of took over against City. We caught City cold a little bit. Living off percentages. We're not going to talk about percentages again because we lived off the 30% possession. Aubameyang got 2 goals against City, and we all know what happened in the final against Frank Lampard's Chelsea. So, but yesterday we progressed in the third round. Gary, your initial thoughts before we deep dive into the game, and this episode I think is going to be a slow burner for us, and then toward the end we're going to talk about the excitement, right?
Yeah. Well, so if you give an overall view of this game. Oh, hello. Hey there, Tony.
Hey, Tony.
Hey, take that shirt off. How dare you?
Hey,
Yeah, take that off.
Back? You don't
want
to...
Did you throw up all over your shirt? It looks like you threw up on it. You know what? You can wear that on TV.
You don't want to think about those 35 points you lost by?
I'm sorry. I did not hear what you said. Something's going on. I can't hear anything.
All right, let's refocus.
He shouldn't. He wore that shirt. As a Florida Gator fan, that's not what I wanted to see today.
You want some
No, take that. All right, sorry about that, Ray. But
no problem at all.
He flustered me a little bit, but yeah. So yeah, in terms of the game, I think we got a lot of answers. Not good answers, but we got a lot of answers. At least we know. And this is what I think the fans wanted to know. We wanted to know, give me some answers to a lot of our questions so we know what we're going to do next, right? No good answers, so now we've got a lot of work, not just in, setting up our team, but then we need players now. We've got a lot of the players out there did not answer the call.
I think, Gary, the only answer we really got is that if you put your best players on the field, we can get a result against a mid-table team at best. No disrespect to Newcastle.
But it also shows that we have no depth, right?
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. We put our best teams out there. best team out there. We can probably put a strong 11 when everyone's fit out there. But when you try to rotate as you need to in the cup competition, I know there's a week apart between games here. We have that luxury this round. It's not going to happen for the remaining rounds. Games are going to come thick and fast.
Definitely, and it doesn't look like we can lean on our bench. So we're gonna have to take. Maybe we're probably gonna have to take certain cup games a lot more important. The importance of those over maybe the league games. Just so that if we're gonna progress in them, we're gonna want to be stronger there than maybe not necessarily take a game off in a league, but maybe not present our strongest team when we play the league game. So I'm okay with that. At this point, are we trying to win the league? If we had the depth, I would say yes, but we don't. So we just want to kind of continue to improve and then look at the two cup, the two tournaments that we're in and see if we can get something out of those.
Yeah, indeed, progression in the cups, and obviously to try to push as high up as that league table we can get to. Tony, what was your thoughts on the game overall? And then before we dive into what it says about our squad right now.
I wasn't too excited about the two Brazilians starting, especially Willian. I just didn't really like the lineup to begin with. I think it's time to switch back to the back three. We're doing better with it. Our strengths are on the flanks. You see that with Saka and Tierney. We still need somebody over there on the right. I think we need to start playing AMN over there more instead of Bellerin.
Yeah, Tony, we have to talk a little bit about Ainsley Maitland-Niles. Yeah, we can understand we might not be excited about Willian and David Luiz in the lineup, but for a cup game, and I think Anthony had said this on the last podcast, if we're going to give them minutes, let's give them the minutes in the cup competition so they are possibly rotated out. The Brazilians are, at least they're not the good Brazilians. We got a couple of decent Brazilians, and we got a couple of average to not great Brazilians. So
couple of clowns.
David Luiz, give him the minutes in the cup, then we can rotate him out. That's what Anthony's probably thinking. But let's talk about Ainsley Maitland-Niles right now. I thought, Tony, this would be a perfect opportunity to give him a game. We've got Cedric playing right back. And, we're going to talk about Tierney, but when we're getting toward the end of normal time, 85, 86 minutes, Tierney looked gassed. He looked really, really tired to me. Now, all credit to Tierney. He would go on and have that engine to be able to engineer the second goal as well for us. But Ainsley Maitland-Niles, if he hasn't found himself into this starting lineup, it doesn't look good for his future at the club, Tony.
No, I'm surprised in a transfer for this window. I would if I was him. No reason being there. He's not going to play, especially in games.
Yeah, Gary, we've gone from a situation in the summer where we shut down the transfer the Wolves wanted to have with Ainsley Maitland-Niles. That would at least signal some kind of, want to keep the player at the club by the coach, by the manager. But it's not like, what's the old saying? Don't listen to what I say, but what I do, right?
Yep. Yeah. No, I mean, this is probably this is a bigger segment, right? But it's telling when we have players that other teams want and want to spend money on, and we keep them, and then we don't use them, and then we do use them, we realize we don't want them anymore. So now when we go to sell them, their value's dropped, right? They know we want to sell now because either they don't fit into our model or whatever they regressed, right? So we punish ourselves. Either if you're gonna, there's nothing. I don't know what Maitland has to do to get a game. And I don't know what his negatives are that they're seeing. He needs games to get better, I think, and he can play pretty much any position, right, from midfield all the way back. So, why isn't he playing? He doesn't even start in this game, and this is a game where we're supposed to go and use your depth, right? I mean, who did they start?
Yeah.
And they started. El Neni and Willock, right? Playing in that mid two, I think is right.
Yeah, Elneny and Willock, and we'll talk about Granit Xhaka and how he transformed the game a little bit later for Tony.
Yeah. But I mean, if he can't start over El Neni in this game, then when is he going to play, right? Because it doesn't get any easier from here on out, right? Every game's it's more importance of every game we play from here on out. So El Neni is definitely a good squad player, and he's coming in to relieve, put the rest on the starters, and when we have injuries and stuff like that. But I always thought of Maitland as being a player that would be part of a rotation, right? More than just a squad player that we kind of bring in when we need to rest pretty much the large bulk. Hey, hello, Mahir. Can you hear us?
Good afternoon, good evening, Mahir. Can you hear us? Yeah, Gary, for me, I thought it would be, although Tierney, he's doing great things for us, but we want to also recognize he's a young player and he's going to need a certain amount of rest as well. I would have been perfectly fine with playing Ainsley Maitland-Niles left back with Cedric at the right, although we would see later Tierney had a big part to play in the second goal.
Yeah, and as you know, in most games where the team's going to sit back on us, we need some of those players that can move forward. So, I mean, Bellerin and Tierney are probably better suited for those types of games where they're going to give us the ball, and our wing backs or those out in the wide, those plays out in the wide sides can come in and and perform those attacks, right? In this type of game where we need defense, and I can see Cedric and Maitland being probably more suited for those games since we're going to be on be defending mostly. But this kind of game, we needed to take it to the other team, right? We didn't do that, and so that first, as I said, that first 110 minutes,
Yeah.
basically. This is what a team like Newcastle's looking for, because they know we don't necessarily have, when we don't have certain players on the field, they can just sit back and wait for a counter, which always come, and it came. I was just looking at the first 25 minutes of the game, and it came. We had a really bad pass in the midfield, and next thing you know, they're on a counter. Nothing happened out of it, but we're destined for a turnover like that when we play against these teams, because we're just not as diligent with our passes in midfield, and things happen.
I think we have to recognize as well, this was a Premier League club that we were going up against. It's not a lower league club that you should take care of business. And, we talked about this month progressing. Our challenges are going to get progressively more and more, bigger and bigger. We've gone through Brighton and West Brom. Newcastle presented another challenge to us, and Crystal Palace on Thursday will present a more difficult challenge again. So we're building towards something here, and that's good. And confidence. We will talk about the confidence of Lacazette, the confidence of Aubameyang. When you're scoring goals, you can put goals away. Mahir, I don't know if you can hear us or we can hear you. Just test your.
Okay, testing.
All right. I'm gonna welcome everyone in as well. Russ Morgan, thanks for joining us. Taib, Alex from Cannon Fodder, the Assembled. I'm going to answer your question here, the Assembled, as best I can. And anyone else who's in the chats watching right now, throw in your comments and let us know what you thought about yesterday's game. So, the Assembled, Ray, can you explain, if you can, how it is possible that Arteta picks 11 players and they can't function as a team? Excuses, please. And I'm very good at excuses, as I don't know anyone who can find the illogical reason. I'm hoping you can. And you might get like 4 excuses here. How we can function as a team, Gary, Tony, and Mahir. If I had all the answers, I would, I'd be the oracle here. And Arteta doesn't have all the answers. You pick a player like Willian at the start of the season, it seems logical that he's got all of that requested Premier League experience that he could come in and help us. Well, you put the product on the field, and it hasn't worked out that way. So
From what I heard yesterday, basically they said Willian was never this bad. Even at Chelsea during his worst times, he was never this bad.
yeah.
So maybe I don't know why Arteta insists on playing Willian over giving somebody else a strong chance. Like maybe one of the other youngsters that can play on that wing.
So, Gary or Tony, you got anything else as to how we cannot perform as a team? These players, some of these players have been playing together for many seasons across 4 different managers. But you added Willian in, and these players that are coming in should be Premier League ready, should be producing for us, and they're getting embarrassed by some of the younger players. And the gauntlet is definitely being thrown down by young players such as Saka and Emile Smith Rowe, which we're going to be talking about a little bit later. These players have moved the club forward for us this season. So, Tony, you got any explanation as to how the team is not working as the first 11?
Well, to me,
Being cohesive.
when you think Arteta's them being stubborn, he goes right back to William, puts him back in there. To me, the problem's been what it's been the last 3 or 4 years. You got 11 individuals out there instead of a team. First thing you need to do is find a captain, which we have, Tierney, and you need to give it to him. And because Aubameyang's definitely not a captain. He wasn't showing any energy yesterday, just always in around, got a lucky tap in. And
Yeah. Gary, Aubameyang, captain in name only, captain in the dressing room. But when you get on the field and times are difficult, you're trying to get a goal against a stubborn opposition. It's sometimes difficult.
Yeah, I mean, he's captain just like the king wears the crown, but he doesn't really run the country, right? I mean, it's just nice. It just looks good looks good on your arm.
Yeah.
So
In name only.
I'm just making fun over there, yeah. But I mean, as far as the 11, there's probably multiple reasons why we look so bad. We didn't look as good as we could have.
Not cohesive.
And is one, I think it's got to, we're gonna. I'm not no order, but one has got to be coaching. You got to coach up these guys because this team is sitting back, which means they're threatened by us. So if that's the case, then we have to show them why. So those players need to come out, and I think we saw it in the first 3 minutes. We got 2 shots on goal, and then from then on, it seemed like drips and drabs of attacks on the goal after that. So in 3 minutes, we got 2 shots straight on goal. I think I think they could do better with those shots, but there were 2 shots on goal in the first 3 minutes. That's pretty good compared to what we've done in the past, right? Especially with a team that is sitting back. And then both times, I think we basically just took what they gave us and didn't, we kept moving forward. The shots, goalie was able to, collect them pretty easily, but they were 2 shots nonetheless. So I think part of it is the coaching, So I don't think he's coaching these guys the same way he coaches his starting 11 when he has them in there. The players themselves have to be blamed, right? They're not performing anywhere close to what they could. We're expecting William to do certain things he's not. Willock and Nelson come in because they've been sitting and they're getting opportunities, and they're either nervous or this is the best they're going to be right now. Either way, just not right. Right?
Yeah.
Tierney does what he does, but if you surround him with players that aren't performing up to par, he can't do all the things he wants to do. All right. I feel like the 2 players, Louise and Marie, did as good as they could. I mean, I think they did really well, right? That combination seems like we've got at least with Gabriel, we've got at least 3 center backs and holding, right? We got the 4 center backs that we need probably for the rest of the year. All right.
Yeah.
We got up there. So the defense.
Until we get rid of some of them.
Huh?
Until we get rid of some of them.
Well, no, the ones that aren't playing, but the ones that are going to play, I think those 4 we could keep them and be fine for now. We might want to get a starter for Gabriel or Marie, depending on who our starter is. We need that right center back, right? But otherwise, I think we're solid there in the center backs. Right back, we could probably, Cedric. He didn't do much for us in the game, right?
I think in every squad, Gary, you're going to need squad players who are happy to get a certain amount of games. They're not going to play every game for you. And the assembled, I really appreciate all of your questions, and I know you're not trying to dig me out at all. Ray, I'm not digging you out, but you have a different viewpoint that you see things from. If you can't reason it, Arsenal are in a terrible situation. The only thing is, when you're trying to build a team, every team in the league, they're trying to build a team to be the best in the league, and it takes time. It takes time to assemble the right parts, and you're going to buy some players that you find will get you to a certain level, but you can't go any further without getting better players on the field, and so we're going to have to do that. And like Gary said, we've been saying this before. Look at our defense 2 or 3 years ago. We had Socrates and Mustafi, Keystone Cops playing at the back. Now we've got Gabriel this past season. We got Pablo Mari, who's performing quite well. Huh? Maldini. And, Mustafi will perform quite well when needed, but we're not reliant completely on... We're not reliant totally on Colonel Mustard or Rob Holding either. So, that's the issue. Let's get through a few things here. Sorry I couldn't join, lads. Working, getting in the way. Good luck with the show. Taib, thanks for saying that. Smash the likes, people. When you come in, just to the left of the door, hit that like button. Taib said, Williams being nothing more than useless. I cannot stand this crap player. And that's what you're going to get. We thought Tony?
What?
Did you want to jump in? We thought we were going to get a Premier League proven player in Willian, and it's proving not to be the case, right?
At least to £32 million. All you got to say.
Yeah, the accountant has spoken, Gary.
Yeah, we wasted our money. I mean, I know we didn't go through it, but we did. Willian came in, didn't look good. I mean, I saw some comments in there as far as if we look at the lineup. I don't know if you want to that William comment is more towards the lineup as well. Mm-hmm. Eddie and Balogun weren't even on the bench. So yep. What's interesting about that is supposedly we want to keep Eddie. But he's not on the bench. Oh wait, no, he was on the bench. Sorry, he was on the bench. He didn't come in and play, which is probably understandable with the way we had it set up. Because Aubameyang was up top, right, and so Lacazette comes middle. So, so Eddie is, I guess, our third string. He's the third striker we got. But Balogun not being on there, I guess, is it's probably the easy answer to that is he's gone, right? Or if he stays, he's probably out on loan anyways.
Arsenal have convinced a lot of their players to sign for Arsenal. We got Saka. We've extended all of the players. Balogun is going to be the one player who's going to get away, I think, from us, and that's going to happen. That just happens. And yes, it's poor planning on both sides, and we're not going to go down that rabbit hole because I think Gary and I slightly disagree on that one, right? Take a moment, Gary.
Yeah, no, Balogun, I think that's on the team, and that's on.
I think it's on the agent myself.
Well, the process is right within 2 years of the contract ending, decisions need to be made. Mm-hmm. Right, players are either staying, going on loan, or they're being sold. Right, one of those three. We've done neither, so now the player gets to decide. Right, this isn't it.
So long. I say we've always been told this for so long that this is what they're sticking to. A player's got less than 2 years or a year. You either decide, listen here, this player is not good enough, or secondly, the player is good enough. maybe for squad rotation or even a starting place, but you need to stay true to your word. If that's what you say, you need to. How do they say? Actions talk louder than words. Actions.
Actions speak louder than words.
Actions
And,
talk
and,
louder
like,
than
and all these
words.
players
Yeah.
we're talking about, right? They were all offers on the table for some of them, right? There was offer for Balogun, there was offer for Maitland. I mean, a lot. There was offers for any player that's
Xhaka.
left. I think at one point there was an offer for them,
40 million pounds.
and we chose not to action them. So either
Arthur Berlin.
either we're keeping them or we're letting them go, right? And we kept them with no intention of continuing with them. So something's not right there. So yeah, I mean, I think I say it's the team because they don't have any control anymore. So if they have control, either they're selling, extending, or loaning them out, right? At this point, they can't do anything. They have to sit back and watch. So
yeah, and they're powerless in the situation now. I actually believe that the agent stalled on the contract talks to time it perfectly, so he's going to be a free agent.
he's in control of the situation. I think if Balogun leaves if he goes for a reasonable amount, it might be bad for him, right? Because at least he knows he's going to be playing with young players his same age that are actually succeeding expectations, leading their countries. I mean, what more kind of this is a
at Arsenal
example
well,
do you
right,
want,
Gary?
right? Huh?
At Arsenal.
At Arsenal, right? I mean, Saka.
Yeah, we have a young, growing crop of players, and you look at our forward line, Aubameyang and Lacazette. We got maybe 2 more seasons out of those players.
And if you're marketing young players, you just pick those 3, right? Saka, Emile Smith Rowe, and Martinelli, and go, all right, this is what we've done, right? These players came to us, either they've been here for a while or we found them when nobody else knew they were out there, and look what they do.
Yeah.
And if you think if you're anywhere close to that where you think you are, stick around for a little while and see what happens. But
future looks bright. We just have to manage these assets now, because these are very, very good assets. We're going to talk about Emile Smith Rowe. We know what Saka's been doing, but I'm kind of gassed about Emile Smith Rowe and what he did yesterday. Alex, we've spoken about the issue. The captain's armband need to attach a meaning and responsibility back into the armband. Arteta should know better. Give it to Tierney. I think that's the future. Anyone want to jump in? I think Tierney is the future. The captain, he can be the lieutenant, right, Tony? He can be Arteta's lieutenant.
It can be now. There's no future to it. Just give him an armband and be done with it.
Just do it.
He's ready.
Do it, Arteta.
Yeah, man. What are we waiting for? Right now we need that out there. And like you said, there's responsibilities behind that badge. No, sorry, behind that armband. And your players are. I think it's easy. Like you said, if we at least say, you know what, you're the lieutenant captain, and you're second captain on the team, whatever. And once in a while, you get to wear the badge. I mean, now we're still giving the badge. I keep saying badge. The armband to other players that. They're not at the captain level, not with what we want on the field, right? But yeah, it should be. Once again, I'll repeat myself over and over again. It should be easy. It should be an easy one.
One player, one armband, one captain. We've been making this mistake for way too long, and it's actually angered everybody.
I'm an old school gooner, so. One captain, one vice captain. Take it from there, right, Tony? Not here.
Tierney and Gabriel.
Yeah, I love that. I love those 2 shots. Not here. Take Taib's question there. Who would better suit Arsenal, Patson Daka or Edson Odegaard? Should Arsenal sign one of them?
Okay, I don't know anything about Patson Daka, unfortunately, Taib, but Edouard from Celtic. I know a little bit about him, enough to say he's he looks like one of the upcoming strikers. These players that we're talking about we can build a young core, like we discussed. We build a very young core for the next 2 years, 3 years. You got a Tierney, you got a Saka, you got Gabriel, you've got some experience with Partey there in the middle. You just add to that. I mean, even I was looking at Sunday tea in Arsenal Circle. Glenn, shout out to all the subscribers, though. You guys all breathe oxygen. I want to say it's looking very promising for the future in the next few years. We just need to really start the domino effect. Socrates, willing to score. What was I thinking? Apologies, Tony. Apologies are accepted, because I also said William is hopefully going to get on the
anyone who thought Willie. Now, when that ball, we'll talk about it, Gary and Maher and Tony. When that ball came over to William after 24 minutes, I'm thinking, okay, he's going to score here. Presentable chance, but it didn't happen. To answer Type's question, Daka is a striker from RB Salzburg, I believe, and he's doing really, really well over there. Liverpool see RB Salzburg as a team that they continually will pluck players from. They've gotten a few from there already. I actually think both players would do really, really well, but I know Edouard would probably suit us a little bit better. I know Stan has been sweet on him for probably the best part of 8 or 9 months now.
Yeah, he probably comes from a tougher league, closer to what we want, right? I mean, if
would adapt.
If Ernie came from that league and we saw how he is in terms of his playing style, Edouard should be close to that, right? So
could you imagine Edouard flanked by Saka, Emile Smith Rowe, and Martinelli on the left in a couple of years from now?
Yeah, I mean, and these are things that we talked about since the last couple of windows that maybe we should pick these players up, and we went with Willian. We could have probably picked up Edouard and been better off to it. Yeah, my dad will not watch a game, I guess. Hopefully,
this is what we do for our club, right? Sorry, sacrifice. We respect your sacrifice, Philip.
Yep. Thank you. Yeah. So hopefully, this one should have been an easy one. I know the money is the transfer fees are usually the issue, and that's why we never do them. But sometimes you got to spend money to make money, and sometimes it's better. It would be better off not get it. If we didn't get Willian, at least we wouldn't have wasted any of our money. Our depth I don't think we would see any difference. We may have lost the first game, but I don't think that matters. I mean, I think we still probably would have won it anyways, but why not? Sometimes you got to save your money.
Tony, the assemble says, don't hold your breath, and that's in terms of the captaincy. This is what I love about our channel, right? We're an Arsenal channel, but we have a little bit of a different flavor, and this is for everyone. This flavor is, Pat said, missing Alonso and Anthony and the Blue Room. So, only if you watch this channel on the weekly will you know what that comment means. You know what I mean?
I don't think we can just the Blue Room doesn't come out whenever. Oh, maybe it is. Maybe we will get to see the Blue Room today.
The Blue Room should be for special occasions.
Oh no, it's getting dark. You know what that means?
The Blue Room should be for 4 goals, maybe 3 goals scored. Gary and
Tony. We got 2 goals in the last 15 minutes. I mean, come on, that gets the Blue Room.
Tony,
green with his green screen all the time.
Tony, do you want to weigh in on the striker choice that Tybe was talking about, Daka or Edouard for you?
I think we're good on Akas with Laka, Zaka, Saka. I don't think we need a Daka. I think Eduardo fits us better.
Yeah, but what you need to do is look at players that when those strikers phase out in 18 months from now, you've got a ready-made replacement that maybe he's gotten some minutes while he's waiting to be taking that job on full-time, Yeah. And that's kind of what we need to do with this club. We need to turn this club upside down. So we're bringing younger players through and supplementing the older players when they are in the twilight years.
Yeah, I think Eduardo fits us a lot better.
Oh, yeah, there it is.
There's the blue room.
Where's my stripper poles?
Not that kind of channel, man. Not that kind of channel.
No, that's another channel. Go check out Gun the News.
That's Tanner's after show.
You're not even gonna get that on Guided News on my own channel.
Gun the News blue. The Gun the News blue room after party.
Cheers, guys.
I did see a comment in there where it's probably, it's getting, oh, this is it right here. What is it, Alex? What I'm gathering is, if Tierney gets the armband, it will split the dressing room further. When someone scores, look who celebrates with them. The divisions show up then. I mean, that's, you know what? Are the divisions which? Is it the divisions with the players that scored, or the players that
within our dressing room? But assembled, I want you to name names. I think we know that Tierney and Granit Xhaka do not have the best relationship. Is there anyone else that you can pair up as people who do not have a great relationship with each other?
No, but it's just like a certain. I think what the assembled meant by divisions is like certain groups stick with each other because they get along better on and off the pitch. Somebody like, for instance, Saka and Martinelli. I think it's Saka and Martinelli, if I'm not mistaken, or Saka and Emile Smith Rowe. I mean, these are youngsters that came through the same academy, came into the same team, first team at the same time, and are presented. And like they have more of a bromance. They understand each other better when they're on the pitch and off the pitch.
I mean, I don't think Hector's going to join in with a Tierney goal, right?
Get out of here. Hector was not good enough.
I mean, I think the divides are pretty clear. Some of the older players, some of the older players and some of the newer, like older in the sense that, some of the older players versus some of the newer players. They just, and I think that's where the divide to me is those that we see as more the future and those that we don't. I mean, and they're threatened, I think, right? Because, they're threatening their livelihood because they're going to be putting them out in the street on the transfer wire, right?
Yep.
I mean, and you know what? That comes, partly from the manager, right? He's got to create an environment where the players play for each other, right?
So far, I would say this is the comment of the podcast so far from the assembled. Very astute, and what I've noticed is the young players play fast, one-touch football. To play this type of football involves speed of thought and a good first touch. Our experienced players lack these qualities.
Or they're lazy, right? I mean, you got to think those one-touch football means you're thinking ahead, right? Or else you don't know where you got to know where the ball is going. Or else you're not playing one-touch football. And if you're lazy, there's no way you know where to put the ball next, right? And sometimes they do, and it goes to nobody or the other team, and you're like, "Wow, how did that happen?" One, because they don't want the ball, right? So they kind of put themselves in a situation where they kind of get flustered, and they just kick the ball away, right? And then you see the ball get turned back over to the other side, and you're like, "Well, what happened there?" And you know what? They're lazy. You got to think at least one or two steps ahead, right? I mean, that's why think about it. When we saw the goal, right, in the second half, what happened? We didn't even have the ball to start that whole situation. It was a quick turnover. What is it? Emile Smith Rowe gets it into Laka. Laka hits it back out. Heads it back out to him.
And Emile Smith Rowe breaks the ball up. He gets it to Saka. And Emile Smith Rowe is immediately running to be that support player for Saka's pass to Lacazette.
Yeah.
And great stuff.
That happens in 10 seconds, right? If that's one of the older guys, they're gonna probably trap the ball. Next thing you know, defense has got into position and any kind of opportunity is lost. Yeah. So if that's the division we got, I side with the side that wants to attack, because that's what we should be doing. If that's the way it goes, then at least I think I'll go with the side that shows me more of a future than the side that doesn't want to work.
Exactly. I agree, because you'd much rather see a side that loses but gives their all, with the other side of the coin being lazy players that might not do anything the whole entire game. I mean, really, it was a drab game though, but eventually we
Yeah.
pushed it through, and hey, look at that.
I wanted
2-0.
to get to Tony about the comment from the assemble as well. The experienced players lack that first touch. I just think they're playing formula football. Take it out of the box, add some water, and there you have your performance. Say, Aubameyang collects the ball on the left wing, and he's going backwards. Too many players that have the experience play with fear in this team, I believe.
Yeah, especially Aubameyang. He showed no energy yesterday. Happened to be in the right place for a tap in. Other than that, he was kind of meandering around, not showing the energy he needs to be showing.
Exactly. Now, at this point, we're going to get into the reviewing the game yesterday. Gary, you're on the watch along with Ryan. We had a number of Gooners. So, what was the overriding sentiment from, let's say, the first half? And Iba said Xhaka doesn't even have a great relationship with the fans, let alone Tierney. LOL.
It was one of those things. I mean, he just fell asleep. I mean, there were pockets of time when there seemed to be something going on. There were other pockets where nothing was happening, and we're just falling asleep. Right? I mean, it was a quiet game. There wasn't much going on, I felt, and we should have been the one kind of putting some attack and putting some pressure on Newcastle, who didn't, they weren't trying to take that game away from us, and we weren't even giving them that many opportunities to get a goal. So, which means that we definitely should have had a lead before the half, right? I mean,
Before halftime, we should have. I was calling, guys. Just don't take sometimes my predictions very realistically. Because when I said 4-0, I was hoping goals galore. People just assisting the next person, like goals galore. It wasn't taking Newcastle for a joke. My realistic thing was going to be 2-0, but I was hoping for like 3-4 at the end of the game. So you go into your second half 2-0 or 3-0 up, and then it's like, okay, cool. We've dealt with everything. There's no need to go into extra time, because if you guys want to know something funny, actually yesterday, so my grandparents, they watched this Indian soapy. So I'm watching a game. I hardly watch TV. I actually got into a slight argument, because the whole game had gone by, and it's 10:30 or 9:30 or something, and they're like, when is the TV going to be available? And I'm like, just now. And then guess what? It was a whole extra time. Yeah, and we got into an argument over it, because I was like, can't you just leave me to watch my football? But I mean, there's a whole 15, 30 minutes of extra time. I was like, this argument could have been avoided over drab football.
Tony, so Martinelli gets injured on the warm-up. And do we think Martinelli, if he was on the pitch, we wouldn't have needed extra time? It's very possible if we had Martinelli on the pitch, but there's no way to know for sure. What's do we know the diagnosis on Martinelli right now?
I haven't seen one yet.
I thought I saw something that it's an ankle. Hopefully, it's an ankle.
Yeah,
which is I think a good thing. But
hopefully it's not ligaments involved in there though.
I saw somebody post that this isn't on Arteta, but I don't know how many players are we getting injured in in the warm-ups. I mean, to me it seems like too many, right? It may not be much at all, but it just seems like these our players
I don't know if injuries in warm-ups is something that you can blame the club. These things happen throughout the season, and I just think you either have some luck or you don't have luck. Look at Liverpool. Liverpool are struggling in the league, but they're still joint top with Manchester United, whereas Manchester United have not had any injuries yet. And we shall see how that plays out. And Man United fans are getting gassed, I hear. You're on mute. But we can read your lips.
Yeah, you guys know what I think of that situation, and Liverpool, go ahead and give them hiding, and Burnley, please do us all a favor and do the same thing, because yes, they are in a realistic chance of. I'm not going to say realistic chance. Actually, let me eat my words. But there was a chance, or is a
Have an
chance.
unrealistic chance of competing for the title.
Yeah, man, we know they're not going to do it. They're talking about 21 in 21. Just please, just keep quiet. Take a L at Burnley and take a heavy L at Liverpool, and keep taking L's, because man, I'm just tired of their big mouths. I can't deal with it.
Also, they're looking for the 23rd, 21st league title, and they want to get it in 21, right?
Please, just. I don't want to be vulgar. This is a family channel.
Yeah, let's move on. It's an Arsenal channel. So Gary, as we were saying earlier, the first half, let's round out the first half. We basically had two chances, and they had one. Did they have that one really good chance, or was that to come in the second half? Through
in the first half, no, I don't think they had any.
No,
I don't
we
think
had
they had anything. We had the two. We had two. I mean,
a long ball over the top. Aubameyang takes it, and he takes a shot. Now, we were talking about this. Takes the shot straight at the goalkeeper. This is a confidence thing for me. Aubameyang needs to get off the scoring charts, and he's been struggling. So he's making sure he's hitting the target there. Dubravka makes a save. The rebound comes to one and only Willian. And here's me thinking, hit it first time, but he takes the touch and skies it over the bar.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen Aubameyang, when he was in form, come off that left side, right, and take that same shot and get into the far corner. You know, I believe Willian can do that. You know, I believe he can. I think he did that in the first game. I think he might have hit the crossbar on one of those types of shots from far out, but on the right-hand side. So it's in there, right? Aubameyang, similar thing. I mean, more than likely we're expecting that to be a goal. You know, an informed Aubameyang puts that probably in the far corner, no problem.
Yeah.
He puts it pretty much comes through the middle, and the goalie's able to stick a hand out and push it out. Yeah, I mean, two players out of form or not ever going to be in form. Who knows, you know, where we're at with those two players. But yeah, they had opportunities.
Do you think Gary Aubameyang getting the goal yesterday can help him kickstart his season a little bit?
I hope so, but I'm not too. I hope so, but
I pray, because we do love Aubameyang. We love him. Willian was a complete waste of time, though, guys. I don't know what we were thinking about signing this guy on a long-term contract. And unfortunately, Pepe, I have no idea when that guy is going to come to form either. And it's heartbreaking.
Yeah, it is heartbreaking. And all we can ever think about is that 72 million when it comes to Pepe. Let's just look at him as a player. I mean, but definitely all his impact can be is coming off of the bench right now. To try to make an impact, and it's not happening for him. In the 27th minute, Tony, the other chance we had, first time shot possibly that Nelson should have taken, but he didn't. Kieran Tierney bursts. The Kieran Tierney trademark move, push the ball past the fullback, skin him on the sprint, and pull the ball back. It gets to Nelson. And he doesn't take the first time shot, Tony.
Yeah, there's 3 or 4 of them like that. Tierney gave to the players that just nobody seemed willing to shoot the ball.
Yeah, it may have been 3 or 4 of them in the game, but that was the only one in the first half, and we go in at halftime 0-0 right here.
Yeah, like I say, really, I know, no disrespect to any Newcastle fan, the Geordies, you know, but these are the type of teams that we as Arsenal supporters, I mean, our team really should be putting the chances that we get away. We should be 2-0 every single game. Except for the Liverpools and the Man Cities And is there another team there? I don't think so. Yeah, 2-0. We should be 2-0 ahead almost every game by our first half. With at least 1-0. At least one goal. But we
Yeah.
do know second
Yeah,
half.
I thought we did enough to get at least a goal lead in this game by halftime. Let's take this question. Panel, do you think there's a clash of styles in the squad if Bellerin, Xhaka, Willian, Luiz, Ceballos are the way forward? Arteta is going. Arsenal are in serious trouble. I don't think there's a clash of styles. I think these players that you mentioned, the assembled Bellerin, Xhaka, Willian, they're going to have to exist in this team as it's going forward with the young players. The young players are reshaping the mold for me, and I think the older players, there's a big onus on them to come along on the same ride, Gary.
Yeah, I mean, the Bellerin and Xhaka in the previous game, not this past weekend, but I didn't really notice them. So, and that's good. That means that everything else, all the other 9 players around them are doing what they need to do, and it looks a lot better. When we start taking, I guess it seems like we take out 4 players, we dip, and they stand out, or other players stand out because their forms are off as well. So I think Xhaka works. He works pretty well when he's got those players that I think in front of him. Right, and that's what we saw. I mean, we were missing a particular trait of our style when we came on. Who was able to bring that, give that to us. So, I think, yeah. I mean, the first 2 on that list, I say, fit into the model that Arteta wants. The last 2, I don't. Well, definitely Willian. Luiz, actually, I don't think is I don't think he's as big negative as the other 3. I think he's actually probably the more solid of the 4 players that we got there. So I don't mind him. I don't think he's done as much wrong as the other 3 in terms of me wanting them to be on the team or not. Luiz I think he's been fine. I think he's given us a lot. I think they've asked him to do too much, but I think Luiz is fine. I'm okay with Luiz. I mean, is he a starter for us? Probably not. But I think we've gotten more from him than we have from the other 3. Definitely from Willian. I think definitely from Bellerin. So
yeah, I don't think there's a clash of styles. It's up to these players to adapt to the new style of playing, whatever style Arteta wants to implement. Glenn, thanks for joining, Glenn. All the way from the chat.
Yeah, I'm so happy. I'm so happy to be back. Hi, Ray. Hi, Gary. Hi, Mahir. Hi, Tony.
Yo,
He showed up more than William did.
I've been good, man. It's been long since I've been here, man, but good to be back again.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah,
it's lovely to have you in, brother. My super sub.
First of the season. Glenn, you're at a Kolasinac level right now. The first appearance of the season.
First appearance of this season, yeah. I was on last season for every single game, but this season I've struggled a bit to get myself in the lineup, but I'm back now.
Yes, man.
What was your thoughts on the game yesterday, the FA Cup Newcastle win?
So I was super scared. Like I thought it would be not that easy. Like I had my hair say, like it wouldn't be that easy. I thought maybe a 2-1 win, but the moment it was still 0-0 after like 80 minutes and they're creating chances, I was getting worried. People will say this is a small competition, but deep in my heart, this is a very important competition to me. So I don't want no 0-0s in the 80th minute. I want us to be 4-0 up, clean. So I've never thought I'd be this scared during an FA Cup game, but I was super scared. In the Premier League, when you're losing a game.
Mahir is super nodding there. He agrees with you. This is a competition that is true. We hold to our hearts very, very much so. But although it will be our 3rd priority this season.
Yeah, in the Premier League, when you're losing a game or something, it's not good to lose a game anyway. But when you're losing, you can be like, next game we can still pick up a couple of wins and let's climb back up the table. But in the FA Cup, I see it like back in the days, the World Cups and stuff, when you concede one golden goal, you're out. So that's how I see the FA Cup. Like you need to score fast. I think in the FA Cup, this knockout competition, it's very important you score fast, because the moment you concede fast, you're in trouble. So I was very worried when you're heading into extra time and Carroll was creating chances. I was very surprised he took off Carroll, because this kind of players, the likes of
problems.
Yeah, the likes of Peter Crouch, the likes of Kenyon Jones, Adebayo when he was at Manchester City, we've never dealt with these players nicely. Like aerial balls and stuff, you could see we could still not deal with them. Pablo Mari was okay, Luis was okay, but he was still dominating us. If it was Wilson, we'd have lost that game. So I'm very, very happy we got through it eventually.
Yeah, we were just lucky there was no former Arsenal players on the Newcastle team that could have popped up and scored against us. The assembled with the utmost respect, they're not Arsenal type players, mentality, physicality, or skillfully. Completely agree with you, but they are the players that we have right now, and we have to use the resources that we have right now until more windows come along and we can rotate some of them out of the club, right, Mahir?
Yeah, until we can say it's time to go. It's time. Bellerin,
Robin,
Xhaka, it's time to go. Get out of our club.
thanks for
Too bad we
joining
won't
us,
get 40
Robin.
million euro offer for Xhaka ever again.
Blind Gooner, good to have you as well, Blind Gooner. I know Anthony did a podcast with you earlier this week, so check out that content. Good stuff. So Tony, as Blind had said, we get into the second half. My notes say after 55 minutes, Newcastle could actually score. They were causing us problems. And then the 56th minute, it's kind of like the Leicester goal we conceded at the Emirates last season. A ball is phased in from the right wing, gets to Carroll. He's got a side foot. It looks like a simple enough finish, but he misses wide, luckily enough.
Yes, I thought he was
A let off.
We were lucky that he didn't. We're also lucky that Leno saved it before going into extra time.
Yeah, I mean, the two chances that Carroll had, Gary, gilt edge chances. You'd want one of our Arsenal strikers to get those kind of chances. The two of them are you would almost imagine that Lacazette would put those away.
Yeah, definitely with him being in form. I mean, yeah, I mean, the one though is, that comes off the defender and just luckily falls to his feet, right? So that one, the defense was there. They make the block just comes off. That we never get those chances where the block comes off that easily, where our striker is sitting there with nobody but the goalie in front of him and just has to get it past him. And so we got lucky there. I mean, Leno, this is the Leno, that we want, and we're getting it. So I'm happy. He's doing what he does, and he does it pretty well when he's on form and he's good. So yeah, we got lucky on that one. And these are the opportunities that come up all the time, right? You sit back, you don't punish the other team, you don't get the goal early. Eventually, they get the confidence that they need, and next thing you know, a free goal comes in, right? And we were lucky that it didn't happen, but it could have really easily, So I think we got lucky there, and we had our opportunities. I think for the first 50 minutes of the game where we should have put something together and get a goal out of it.
Yeah. So, as long as you don't go a goal up, you're always likely to be punished, and that's the feeling I was having. As Glenn foreshadowed there, it's like Newcastle could score on us, and then you're needing to score at least a goal.
I mean, if that happens in a game like a grab game, like Glenn is saying, I mean, I was even worried that then we might just concede at the last moment. That Carroll chance, I honestly thought it was a goal because I had already gone, damn it, and walked away. And then I turned around and I said, that wasn't a goal. Okay, guys. Buck up, man. The FA Cup 14 times. We are the holders. And we're going to get knocked out by Newcastle.
It definitely crossed my mind. This could be a third round to exit. The great save. We got to call out Bernd Leno. He's taken a lot of flack this season. But he has saved the penalty against Chelsea a few games back, which could have been a very nervous game at the end. We all remember that one. At 3-1, he saved the penalty. And here against Carroll, Gary, he saves Arsenal right at the death.
Yeah, Tony, you gonna say something?
Meep.
Oh, he's gone.
There he goes. Well,
All right,
Maher did have to leave.
Yeah, no, I think
Super sub plan is in.
Yeah, you talk about the luck that doesn't go our way when we need to score.
Elastic tightly.
Yeah.
Sorry, Gary.
No, I was saying that's just the luck we got it the other way around. I mean, usually those goals go in, but I think we're, as a team, I think we're playing better. So that's why, we got lucky. Players that need and I tell you all the time. All right, we've got Leno, and sometimes it's not his fault at all, but he just needs to, give us that, that moment, right? And he did it, right? So it's not that it's his fault when it goes in, but at some point he's got to correct the mistakes that happen around him, right? And he's done that now a couple of times already in this run that we've had, where he's come through when we needed him, and he had nothing to do with it, but he showed up and did what he needs to do. So that's what I'm talking about when I say, he's going to have to make that play, right? And he made it, right?
That's what you want when you have a goalkeeper, Glenn. When you have a goalkeeper that hasn't been active for a lot of the game, you want him to step up in these key moments. And as Rule said here, Newcastle played to a plan, thanks be to Leno. But I've seen we lost matches similar to this in the league. So definitely stepping up for us there.
Yeah, world-class save. Kind of what I've done right now, replacing my hair. World-class save, like right on time. So
world-class
me,
substitution. Classic Keitley is in the team now.
Yeah, that second that last minute chance, I actually had not seen the clock until I watched the replay of the game. It was actually like on 92 minutes, so we wouldn't have had any time to even create one chance. So it would have been done. That was the last chance. And before even getting to that second chance, the first one that Carroll missed, I don't know if you guys noticed, but the one who made the mistake was actually Tierney. He's actually the one who gave the ball to them
away, right?
Yeah, and they crossed the ball. It's a very dangerous position. So for the second one, Leno has always been quality. As Gary has said, that Chelsea game saved us, because if Chelsea scored that second goal, we all know it would have been in terrible. Those last five minutes against Chelsea, I don't think would have been able to. I don't think would have been able to keep it at 3-2. I think they would have scored because they hadn't won in a while. So that mentality comes back again. But Leno is a very, very good goalkeeper. I mean, I don't think any of us wanted Ranasson to start, because of how he made those mistakes. Of course, he'll play a couple of games here and there, because Leno can't play every single game, but he's a very, very good goalkeeper. Probably one of the three players that Emery signed that is still good right now, alongside Martinelli and Tierney. All the others, nowhere to be seen.
Yeah, and you're right. We called out Tierney earlier in the podcast. He's getting tired toward the end of regular time, but we're going to talk about Tierney. He's still moving in extra time after this. But got to do some business here. Then we're going to get to the VAR decision, which thankfully, the officials finally got that right with Emile Smith Rowe. Let's do some housekeeping here. Rule, thanks for joining us, Rule. He said, you have to understand we cannot move all of our players on January, August, and January 2022. We are building. I do not approve of some of Arteta's decisions, but we have to build with seniors and youngsters. Completely agree with you. Financially, logistically, it's just so difficult to turn over the whole club all in one window. I wish that it would be different, but we have a big window. This window is going to be all about who we can move on, right, Gary? And not like who we can bring in. We might bring in a player, but we got to move 3 or 4 on. And that's going to continue window by window.
Yeah, man, I definitely agree with the concept that we need to build with our senior and youngsters. There's also to me a middle tier as well of players. So our seniors being those players over 28, and then that mid tier, the 24 to 28, and then your youngsters after that. So those are the 3 tiers of players. And right now we don't have anybody in that middle tier, who's around that 24 to 28 age group. We don't have that many players that fit in that list, besides Partey. I mean, that's the only one, Partey and maybe Marie, that fit in that number that I think are where we want them, where a lot of the
regular fixtures will be the right age, right?
Yeah. So I think when some, like I've said before, when some said we're maybe three or 4 years away from where we want to be, that's when your Sakas and Emile Smith Rowe will be in that 24 to 28 age group, and hopefully they'll be a lot better than they are now. And if that's the case, and we still have them, we'll be fine, right?
It should be a golden age in the next 18 months if everything is, and it's difficult. It's difficult to get everything right with a club, but let's start down the road of trying at least to get everything right.
You see, Tony's got his William and Luis,
Samba Boy. Samba Boy is there.
Shirt on. Does he know that?
I just had to join the rest of you and have a hoodie on.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hoodie brother.
We're in the hoodie segment. Yes.
Okay, so that is the tag for advertising this podcast. Hoodie brothers. Hashtag hoodie brothers. So Tony, take this comment here from the assembled. These alleged experienced players are selfish and disruptive. They will continually get managers to sack until the board puts their foot down and puts an end to their behavior. If this is true with these players, can they be kept in check?
And they can be. They can be fined and benched, but nobody seems to have the balls to ever stand up to the players. It's pretty easy to manage them, but we don't.
And as Gary said, we're finally getting some luck. So let's ride that wave of luck, as Will said. I think we have had some luck finally. So Gary, let's dive into Emile Smith Rowe. First of all, I wasn't sure what happened. At first, I was thinking it's a yellow card. Then I could see Emile Smith Rowe's reaction was, I've done something here that the referee has deemed to be a red card. And, what I liked about the whole thing as well is that 3 or 4 Arsenal players surrounded the referee. This is something we've not seen for years at Arsenal. And this is the first sign of probably a togetherness or something happening within the dressing room, that players are actually going to bat for other players. Maybe it was because of the injustice that they thought it was being, but I still like to see it.
There should always be somebody come into a player's aid, either they've fallen down or whatever, right? You always see it. I mean, somebody gets knocked down, one of their teammates is right there to pick them up, right? So yeah, so I think that shows togetherness, right? I mean, we're talking about it's Arsenal, right? Playing for the badge, so they should all. That's what we want. If there's divisions, and those will get weeded out, in the locker room or with the coaching staff. So either you're with us or you're against us, right? So I think that would happen there. Now, in regards to that, I mean, I was concerned at first when I saw it was a red. I saw the first replay, and I was like, you know what? I don't even think it was a foul. I don't think he ever touched him. I think the player I think the player would have had to run into him. I don't think it was the case that Emile Smith Rowe actually kicked him, as opposed he was there first, and the defender should get a little bit of preference at that point. And I don't even think he hit him. I think the offensive player realized he was there late. He got there late and then avoided the contact at that point. So I didn't even think it was a yellow, especially on the replay. Mm-hmm. I mean, I don't think I saw any contact to lead me to believe that there was a card.
Yeah, and definitely for me, there's no intent. You have a situation where Emile Smith Rowe, his momentum is going one way. He's trying to stop, and he's been really good at nicking the ball away. He plays a little bit like Jack Wilshere, and Martinelli as well. He wants to nick the ball away. He's trying to stretch his leg out just to nick the ball away. So there's no intent there for me. Tony, what do you think about that? There's no intent at all. And you got the momentum of the Newcastle player. He's just flying in, trying to get the ball. And, whether there was contact or not, the intent is not there. And for me, it's not a red card.
Yeah, he's stationary on a play ball. To me, it wasn't a foul or a yellow, like Gary said. The thing that made no sense to me is how VAR didn't overturn it itself without having to have a referee go look at the monitor. It should have been.
So The intent of VAR is to overturn a clear and obvious mistake from the referee, and they probably didn't feel that they had the authority to do that, but they were in the earphones.
I mean, if they don't, then what? I mean, when else are they going to do that? Because it was, you can even see in the replay when they were showing the referee looking at it. You can see in the replay where Smith Rowe's leg is, and where the offensive player's leg is, and there's a gap there. There's no contact. So, and I go by the contact as well. I know because intent doesn't mean anything, because Eddie got a red, and the intent wasn't there to hurt anybody, but he was just late. Right, which is just so I don't. To me, it wasn't in this particular case. It wasn't intent. It was more the case that there wasn't a penalty, right, at all. There wasn't a foul. It was just two players.
It would be a deemed intent if the referee would deem it as an intent, Gary. And I know that's subjective.
Yeah. Well, that's the. I mean, we can't. You can't define that because
No.
Yeah, so
No.
that's why I looked at the contact and said if there was contact there, then I would see some some intent there, and that would mean that he had a lot of follow through on that ball, which means usually you're late, right? And that's when the contact happens, and so that wasn't. I think he was there. I think he was there early enough, but yeah, I mean VAR worked for us yesterday, and I'm glad for it.
Yeah. I'm just going to get a comment, then I'm going to go to Glenn. The assemble that we're supposed to call loaning players out, moving them on. Yeah, when the loan is over, they will be coming back to fulfill their contracts. Yeah, it's a difficult situation, the assemble. Very difficult. I completely agree with you. Glenn, your thoughts on that VAR situation? Referees finally getting sense and finally doing the right thing. It's unheard of.
I still don't think it's that. The way I saw it, it's another referee who can't wait to give Arsenal a red card the moment someone falls down. They're on the Arsenal red card, get out of the pitch. But I was right because of 4 reasons when that red card. Okay, the first time we did, I don't know if any of you saw whether it was a red card or a yellow, because all I saw is Smith Rowe like this, I had not seen what color card it was. And then he started worrying like it's a red card. So I was right because of 4 reasons. Number one, obviously, the obvious one is we are going to extra time with 10 men. We have so many games coming up. We always see, like every time we get a red card, we always become a mess. Apart from Leeds away, like since back in the day, 8-2 we had a red card, 6-0 we had a red card, the 5-1s against Bayern we had red cards. So I'm always worried when you get a red card. Burnley this season, so that was the main worry going into extra time with 10 men. Number 2, you could easily see how gutted Smith Rowe was, man. You could see how gutted he was. He was like, I've been given a chance, a couple of games playing well, and then I've gotten a red card out for 3 games, maybe even 4. You could see how worried he was, and I don't want any of our youngsters to get like broken like that. And then number 3, the worst one of the lot. I started imagining Willian. Willian is actually going to play this coming games. Willian is going to be in the starting lineup.
That's a pretty big factor, yeah.
Yeah, that was the worry. I started like
I want to see your face through all of these phases.
Because I was just like, we get a red card and then you don't think about the future games. You had to start like 30 minutes without, and then it hits you. And when it hits you, Willian, it's bad. Believe me, it's really bad. Like Crystal Palace, Southampton with Willian, it is terrible. And then the fourth one is the fans, because I've seen how quickly people have turned on Aubameyang. So I remember when Pepe got a red card and Ateta talked about him letting us down. And then when Xhaka got the red card after like 2 games, people are like, why didn't he say this about Xhaka? Why did he say about this about Pepe? I wouldn't have been surprised if people said, why didn't he say this about Smith Rowe? He cost us the game. And then all of a sudden, we've turned on Smith Rowe the way we've turned on Aubameyang. I'm not saying it would have happened, but that is why I was very, very worried. So again, I know you've said the referee was doing the correct thing, but did you see how long it spent to check that? Like 1 minute, such an obvious decision. That was definitely not a red card. And he was trying to check, like, I need to find somewhere where to prove that it's a red card. He was checking every single angle, like, no. It has to be a red card. Show from the other side. Yeah, like he was checking every single angle and it was very worrying. But the moment he overturned it, I was very, very happy because, he ended up scoring the goal. So those were the 4 reasons I was worried. Thankfully, And then our discipline the last 2 years, another red card didn't have been good for our CV.
And it would have added to the growing list of red cards under Arteta, and would have become a narrative. I remember Arsene Wenger used to stack up red cards. But Tony, all good points from Glenn there. So I like this, especially the third one. But all good points. I'm going to look at it from the optimistic point of view. The referee's looking at the screen to be absolutely sure that he's going to rescind the red to a yellow and that he's doing the right thing. Glenn's got the other viewpoint. So us Arsenal fans, we are very cynical.
If we lose Emile Smith Rowe, those 3 wins in the Premier League that we had could all go away, right? We'll be back trying to get those 3 wins again. So it is, that's definitely probably goes through a lot of people's mind. As soon as you see a red, it's like, all right, who do we have next 3 games? And these are the games we're on. We're not.
Yeah, who are we relying on?
We're not 100% confident. We're going to win with what we have, but then to lose one of our stars right now would be punishing.
Definitely.
That's what Willian does to you. You've just seen Ray a minute ago. His mind went blank. That's what happens when you mention Willian too many times on a stream. Like things start vanishing. That's how
Glenn,
bad it is. So.
Did you think he would score in that first half with that first-time shot?
I did. Like, okay, I know Tony's going to come at me. I don't think he's that useless. I don't think he's that useless of a player. Because he did well at Chelsea last season. He got double figures for goals and assists. So he has a thing in him. I don't know. Maybe you should give him time. Maybe he's still trying to adapt to English football. But for him, that chance, I thought he'd definitely score. I thought he'd definitely score. That's such an easy chance. And then that's what happens when you don't have confidence, because I don't even know why he went to his left foot. He'd have just shot it to the right foot. But I did think he'd score, because if you don't score in an FA Cup game against
he is predominantly right-footed, Glenn. He is predominantly right-footed, but these are professional footballers, and they've got to do it. Norma, thanks for joining us. I still don't trust Arteta. What would Arteta have to do, Norma, to get him on side with you? Only way I can gain his trust is if we win the Europa League or top 4. Okay, you answered my question there. So that's a big ask this season. Maybe next season Arteta will be. You can trust Arteta then. Any other points, Tony, Gary?
Well, if Arteta has a 3-year plan, right? He said he has a 3-year plan. Then what Norma says is actually true, right? Because there's no way he's winning a league in his 3rd year if he can't get top 4 or win the Europa League.
Yeah,
in the 2nd.
It's all in the master plan.
So if his plan is, if he has a 3-year plan and that's how he sold it to Willian, and he doesn't get either one of those 2, then he's failed. I mean,
come on, Gary, come on.
No. But he said that, right? He said no. I'm not.
He said the objectives plan.
He said he sold it to Willian. He said, Willian, come. We got a 3-year plan. That's my understanding of what was reported. Was he lying? Or was that report a lie?
Right now, it seems like that. It seems.
Glenn, this is the Arteta wish list. This is the Arteta wish list.
I mean, you want your managers to have a goal to win the league, right, or win a Champions League, right? So his plan was a 3-year plan. Most people think we're more at a 5 to 8 year plan as far as getting to the top of the table and to win your
3 to 5.
Yeah, so 3 to 5. Yeah, so I think that if he sold William on that dream, then he's gonna pay for it, because it probably won't work out the way we are right now. We could make a drastic change, but we're so many players away from that, right?
And I think you're right.
Maybe like now, like 3 wins in a row, maybe 20 more, and you're winning the league this season. Just imagine if that happens. I mean, you've gone 3, you can go another 20. So, I was very listen. I'm Arteta in. I've never said Arteta out, because I want him to be given the entire season, even if he had lost to Chelsea or whatever. But when we were losing those games, I was starting to get worried. I was like, what the hell did he tell Aubameyang and Willian? Because it seems like when I had that Aubameyang interview at the end, right, he actually said, I stayed at Arsenal to leave a legacy and also because of Arteta. That was the main reason. I was like, then this manager has to have told them a lot of things. Ceballos said he came back to Arsenal because of Arteta. Willian said he came to Arsenal. The way we know it is because of his business and staying in London, but he also said because of Arteta. So there has to be something that he's doing right. But yeah, I get what you're saying, Gary.
Yeah, and look, you have to take over this club, the shambles it was in, Tony. The shambles this club was in. Arteta comes in, and you have players who are turning up every season, every preseason. They know they're only good enough if everything goes well to be top 4, top 6. This was a year ago, okay? Maybe it's not the case now. How can you convince players that they can win the league if they go in with the mindset they're only good enough to be top 6? You have to convince players that they can run through walls for you. If they run through walls for you, you're going to get results, and we're going to win leagues. And as Gary said, when we all know this may not happen, but you have to start setting objectives. We want to be in the top 4. We want to win the Champions League between 2 to 3 years. And this is the mindset, the mentality you have to put down, the culture you have to put down at the club, Tony.
Yeah, I kind of wonder. To me, he's still a snakes oil salesman to them now, looking at where we are at the table. I don't know what he's doing to convince them behind the scenes that we can compete because we're just not showing it on the pitch.
If I'm an experienced player, I'm looking at the crop of players that are coming through. The ones that we've bought in the lower leagues in Brazil, Martinelli. We got Saka. Hail end, boys. Keep Ainsley Maitland-Niles. We got to do that, in my opinion, but Arteta probably feels differently. Saka and Emile Smith Rowe, and that's the future. And if I'm an experienced player, I'm like, I could get another medal or 2 out of my career if everything gels with these players and I actually start picking up my game as well. You know, Tony?
Yeah, we got the youth. Still, the experienced players aren't good enough, most of them.
Yeah. So, Gary, we finished the game 0-0. We're thankful for Bernd Leno at full time, and Arsenal are getting a red card rescinded, as Russ said.
Well, I think
who did the deal with the devil there?
Well, I think what happened was the check came in. It had a red, crest on there, and they got confused. They thought it was Arsenal, but it was not. And but we got the call. So if that's what happened, I'll take it. A little mistake.
Exactly. As the Assemble said, if Arsenal paid off the contracts of our usual suspects and couldn't invest in the summer transfer window, but the squad would improve, would you accept that? Gary?
Yep.
Tony? You kind of want to leave yourself a little wiggle room for getting a player. I wouldn't do it.
We're not getting anything out of some of those players, right? They may not play for the rest of the season, and so at least.
Well, the usual suspects are Granit Xhaka, right?
Yeah, but 40 million euros we turned down for him. Still the biggest stupid mistake we've made in years.
The accountant has spoken.
The thing with Xhaka, I don't think he's part of our top 5 worst players that we need to get rid of. I think he's number 6, but not top 5. I mean, Kolasinac went. Some of you guys like Chambers, but I don't. I don't think he's fast enough to play in our defense.
Be nice.
Tony, Chambers is in Tony's top 3.
Yeah, I don't like Chambers. Okay, I'm not saying he's on the level of Mustafi and Kolasinac, but yeah, I feel like we still have 5 players that need to go in front of Xhaka, and then after we've gotten rid of them, then we can start thinking about selling Xhaka. What I mean about that, we can get rid of those 5 this transfer window, but you can afford to keep Xhaka until the end of the season and then sell him from there. And also that Niles guy, I've heard what guys said, but yeah, we're not talking about Niles, but I also don't think he's as good as you guys say he is.
If that's the case, then we should have sold him for 15 mil because, you know, we
turning down money.
We kept him, so we didn't think he was. We either didn't think he was. We thought he was worth more than 15 mil, right? Or we were going to use him anyways. We're not doing either. So that's on Arsenal. That's not on the player, right? On Arsenal, they had a choice, and they didn't. They're not doing anything. They never sold him, and they're keeping him but not playing him. So
And it looks
I
like
think we only kept him. Go ahead, Ray.
looks like they're keeping Fade with Hector Bellerin as well.
I think we only kept him because of those semi-final and final performances in the FA Cup. Yeah.
That should not be the basis to keep a player on just a cup run, you know.
Welcome to Arsenal. Welcome to Arsenal, Ray.
But then we kept Aubameyang, right? I mean, your past performance is a reason why you keep the player, right? So, you know, that's the same could be said that. Many thought, well, why do we reset? Why do we re-up with Aubameyang, right? Because is he going to give us the same going forward? You know.
Yeah. So who knows? I mean, we thought so at the time, Gary. But obviously, it's proving we're in the second part of the season now, and it's proving difficult for him to score goals. Glenn, I'm going to give you this question Russ has here. Due to Brexit, it will be harder to get younger foreign players. Do we need to start looking at the Buendias and Basumas who are already playing in the Premier League?
I would. Bissouma is a guy I really, really want. Okay, I'm not into the politics of football and how much money this one is going to get paid and this one has gotten a loan from the government. I'm not into that. I always focus like on the tactics and what kind of formation and how our performances are. So for me, I'd say yes. The other day I was talking about, I was trying to see how Arsenal could line up if we get Buendia. And I was actually struggling to get a position for him in the team just because those other players that are in right now are doing very well. I'm kind of, yes, we need to get this quality of this kind of players because we already have a lot of young players anyway, like 7 or 8 of them. So they need some experience around them. And someone like Bissouma would do well. Buendia would come and help the likes of Saka in whatever they don't know. Not a lot these days. You can clearly see the likes of Saka know a lot. Smith Rowe, we can help them. But for me, I wouldn't take that. I'm kind of 50-50, but I'd go for the Bissoumas, yes. Right now, I'd definitely try and go for the Bissoumas. But yeah, I don't think they'll actually play in the team because the team is doing kind of well. But still, a couple of players will need to go. So yeah, I don't mind going for both options. A couple of young players, maybe. Yeah.
You think we need to, Glenn? Do you think we need to sign a player to help Emile Smith Rowe in midfield just to take a little bit of the load?
Yeah, I was thinking. I don't know if you guys think Smith Rowe can play that position next to Partey in the middle, or will that be too much defensive work for him? Because if he can play in that position, then all of a sudden we have space for Buendia in front of him. We have space for Aubameyang, Lacazette, Saka, and then it becomes. But if you say he can't play in that position, I don't know.
I would like to see him spearheading the midfield to be in that pocket and behind those 3 players. Gary?
Well, I mean, that's interesting because if you have both Bissouma and Emile Smith Rowe in the field, then they can, like Arteta does, players interchange all the time, right? And if that happens and Emile Smith Rowe moves up and Bissouma comes back just to support him, you don't lose right there, right? So I think in that kind of case, that would help. I mean, the one thing, if you go back to that question, was I saw, or somebody was mentioning that currently certain teams will kind of partner with some of these European clubs and kind of build it and be like their farm system for the Premier League, right? And that way they can kind of look at players that are in those younger ages and get them into essentially their farm system. And then when they do hit the 18 mark and they're able to transfer, then they're already set to come towards, like the RB Leipzig, the Red Bull kind of approach where they're not in the same country, but they still have the feeder. Yeah. So that could happen. The only thing I have with that is, are we a club that is smart enough to kind of implement something like that and be able to set something like that up? I don't think so based on what I've seen, but that's one way to do it. But
And that would have to be done in a different league as well. I would have to be a partnership with a league in a different country as well.
Oh, definitely. And what's what we're talking about, right? We're talking about foreign players and how we get them in, and not because are we pulling it? How many 18-year-olds are coming into the Premier League and ready to play anyways? Not many, right? Not many. So, but if they're in your system, you know, then maybe it works that way. But yeah, I mean, if you were to get a Basuma and you thought, you know, the position conflicts with what Emile Smith Rowe does, then at least now you've got some depth, right? So, and that's one of the things we need also. I mean, is it an expensive process? I don't know. Not right now, because Emile Smith Rowe isn't worth that much. So it may work out for a little while having two players that maybe sit in the same spot. That's, you know, a thought I have, because we are missing depth, and we are fearful.
Yeah, that's a huge problem. We started the podcast saying we can probably put 11 on the field, but you're looking at depth and trying to rotate. Then you get a game in the cup against Newcastle that is as dour as it has been for the first 90 minutes, and you get into extra time, and you brought on an Emile Smith Rowe. Just before we get to Emile Smith Rowe, Glenn, great that you're doing double duty in there. I love that you're interacting in the comments as well as fielding questions here. I just want to get your gauge. You mentioned you were on board with Arteta. Now, what was your feeling as to if we'd have lost against Chelsea, if we'd have lost against Brighton? How long were you willing to give Arteta into this new year if things would have continued? Because I can tell you after you give me the answer where I was feeling.
Until the January transfer window, that's what I was waiting for, because I knew we have bad players. As I said earlier about Willian and Aubameyang and Ceballos coming to Arsenal or remaining at Arsenal because of him, there's something he's doing right. And then obviously the FA Cup, let's be real, whether people think it's not the biggest of competitions, it kind of gave him some time to make some mistakes, some room to make some mistakes and correct himself. If he didn't win that, then it'd be out by now. For the Chelsea game, no one actually expected us to win that City game and the Chelsea game. So that was kind of a surprise, but I would have given him until the January transfer window, because as you've said, our squad, as Gary has said, the depth. I noticed that when we played West Ham, I think in the second game of the season, those guys had the likes of Felipe Anderson, I think Haller on the bench, and we had the likes of Nketiah. They had a better bench than ours. That's how bad it was, West Ham. So Aston Villa, same when he played Aston Villa. So yeah, we definitely need a couple of players. But Arteta in because of those reasons. He's won an FA Cup, so he has done something right before. Yes, people say he's not a good manager, but players saying they're joining Arsenal because of him. So maybe we don't know the truth in the dressing room. And also like this season, we didn't start poorly. So we know we can do something.
We started with 2 wins.
Yeah, but the quality of players we have, I mean, I don't think anyone can do well on you have Kolasinac on the left and Willian on the same wing. I don't think it's possible. So yeah, that's why I was giving him time.
No, true. You kind of answered the same, similar to what I was thinking. As everyone knows, I was going to give him till the end of January here, but obviously results have picked up. Tony, the Sambo says here something is seriously wrong with Arsenal when Emile Smith Rowe, Saka, and Martinelli are our future already. I actually disagree. There's nothing wrong with Arsenal when these players are our future. I'm not persevering with Granit Xhaka, Bellerin, and maybe it's not that easy to interpret statements that are made in the chat room. So if you want to elaborate, the Assemble, definitely do that. But I see a future with these players, Emile Smith Rowe, Saka, and Martinelli. They should be our future. And what we should be doing in this window is picking the right purchase that's going to help these young players, as Gary has said, in the right age group as well. These are young players, so we need to probably recruit 23 to 7, 23 to 27, 24 to 28, something like that. Tony, what do you think?
Yeah, to me, it's bonus having players. That's about it. Playing them. Arteta had playing them until just recently, been stubborn and sticking with the same old crew that's always screwing up. I think we need to trust the youth. It's what Emery did. I think it was a good thing to trust him. Like you said, we need a. I don't know why we never go in the mid-20s players to get them where they're either in their 30s or
Like
across.
Buendia here. Buendia does tick some boxes, although he's 23 years old. He's played in the Premier League, and I think he can add something to the team. You know, yes, he's going to cost a little bit of money. Go and get Julian Brandt as well. I know the talk has been about that as well, but we need to go and get the right player. And 10 days into the window already, Tony. Hopefully the club is working. We don't want to get a player in on the 31st of January. Let's go get him now.
Yep.
You know,
Yeah,
buy him
To
now.
add
yeah.
to add
Yeah,
to
but-
Assemble's point, I see what he tries. Maybe I don't know if I'm wrong. Maybe he's trying to mean that if something is seriously wrong at Arsenal and Smith Rowe, Saka, and Martinelli are our future. I'm guessing he means like right now, as of now, we are depending on them too much. If you're
Putting too
depending
much
on
pressure.
this kind of players right now, it's too much. There's no problem with them scoring goals and contributing a lot to the team. The problem is if they're the only ones doing it, then you're in trouble. When we have
well,
like 8 to 9
I'm
experienced
right.
players doing it.
You're right. That's what the Assemble is probably thinking and saying. Right, I think they're playing too much football. They should be coming off on the bench and slowly integrated into the team. And
Yeah.
what we should be doing is having experienced players who are taking up the slack, Gary, not the young kids. We're looking to them every game.
Definitely. I mean, that's the whole depth problem that we have.
Yeah.
I mean, we've got players. I mean, can they come in and continue to play one, maybe 2 games a week in the Premier League? I don't think so. I mean, Martinelli already is. I don't think. I mean, if he gets 1 game a week, I think that would be a nice thing because that would be good. That means we know, we have our our starting 11, our strong 11 when he's in there. But yeah, they can't. I don't think we could, the future is bright with them, so I think that's good that they are the future. But this isn't a good plan to have where we have to lean on these guys week in and week out. I mean, they have to rest. They need to be able to sit back a little while and see what they've done and improve on it. And they can't do that in a regular season the way things are going right now, where there's so much pressure on them. So yeah, I mean, so that's why if they are going to pick up players, they don't necessarily have to be the top players that are out there in the transfer window, but they need to be players that can fit into the squad and be available immediately, or else it's not, or else you might as well wait. So, we're able to get players that can come in and within a week be ready to play, even if that means coming in for 30 minutes, then we should be able to, we should do that because we need it. We definitely need it.
Yeah.
But everybody said from day one that, plan number 1 is to get rid of whatever 10 to 11 players anyway. So,
Yeah, and the assembled. So we're speaking from the same hymn sheet, and thanks, Glenn, for offering that different viewpoint that I probably missed the first time around. But yeah, this is the hand that we have. We have these experienced players who need to start playing to the level of the young players because they're playing at a higher level. And Gary, let's get into that. Emile Smith Rowe. So my notes here, it's interesting. 2 goal scorers in the game. One is an established player looking for form. He's coming to the end of his career almost. He's got a couple more seasons. So one is an established player looking for form. The other is a young player just starting out. So we've basically seen a bookending a player's career here with Emile Smith Rowe showing the way and Aubameyang trying to rekindle what he had last season. But great goal from Emile Smith Rowe.
Yeah, I mean, yes, I mean, the same.
Smile on your face, right?
The same.
Smile on your face.
Yeah, just the comparison between that and Williams' shot, which is in a similar position on the field, right? You're like, so one, he didn't even have to hit the ball off of his shoulder, put it down, and score. So yeah, I mean, Emile Smith Rowe is, at least for me, I think is the real deal right now. We just, we want more, but I don't think we shouldn't expect more, from them right now. We want more, but we shouldn't expect it. We should be okay. They're going to have to sit, right? They're going to have to sit. They're going to have to maybe come off the bench, the worst case. But yeah, this is, it was nice to see hopefully Aubameyang's goal is a step in the right direction and he'll be ready to go. But it took 100 minutes plus to get there, right? And then he's going to have to, once again, he's going to have to make that play. It can't be an excuse that, you know what, I don't get the ball in the right position for 90 minutes, so I'm not going to be able to do something for this team. He's going to have to, when he gets those opportunities, he's going to have to finish them. It doesn't matter if there's one person in front of him or two. He's going to have to somehow make a way. He's going to have to do something outside of his box, right? It can't be Aubameyang gets set up this way and this is how it works. Sometimes he's going to have to come out and, cross the line, those barriers that he has in his play and do something, make that play, right? That play, right? Doesn't matter if bad pass, doesn't matter if, he's put in a bad situation. He's going to have to perform.
Be in position. Like, Ian Wright used to be there. He wouldn't have a kick the whole game, and he'd be there in position. You got to be that player who can, okay, it's a tap in, but you got to be in the right position. You got to be ahead of your defender. There's so many things that make a tap in look easy, but it's not easy to get in those positions.
And like the Assembles comment there, right? We want these players to be around. We want them to be around in their 30s, right? Mm-hmm. And the only way that's going to happen, then they can't play the way they are now and continue to play these games week in and win out. If we're expecting them to be around till they're 30, I mean, I think right now some of us, many don't believe Martinelli would be here too much longer because he's just going to be too good for the team, right? Of course. And if he's healthy, too. And if he's not, Saka could, but I think he'd rather stay. I think Tierney would rather stay, right, and stay with his red shirt on. And so those players, but if Arsenal makes a mistake, those players are going to see the light at another tunnel and want to leave this one, right? So,
there definitely has to be a way to monitor, and we do monitor their levels of exhaustion throughout the season plan. That's something we have to protect the players from.
I was starting to feel better about life before Gary brought up Willian again and said Martinelli could leave. Then I went straight back to the negativity there. Again. Yeah, you're playing around with my emotions, Gary. I don't appreciate that. But I get what you mean. Saka, especially Saka. I think he played like the last international break. He played 90 minutes for England in all the games. And then he comes back to Arsenal. The moment we try to rest him, we go 2-0 down, and then we have to bring him in. And then we don't score, you have to bring him in. So that should be a shame to the likes of Pepe and Willian. Like, they stay on the pitch for 100 minutes, literally do nothing, and then we have to depend on these youngsters. 3 months ago, we would play the likes of Saka and Smith Rowe in the Europa League and rest these others for the Premier League. We are now resting these others for the Premier League and playing Willian and Pepe in the Europa League. So the one player I really wanted to rest to is Tierney. For me, Tierney and Lacazette, I look at them like youngsters because they're the ones who are playing as good as the youngsters right now. So I don't want them to put them in that category. Yeah, I'm putting him in the youngsters category because I don't want to say experienced, because when I say experienced, I start thinking Willian, Luis. I don't want to put him in that category. I want to put him in this category. Lacazette to me is 19 years old right now, and Tierney is only 18. So for all of them, they need a rest. I wanted Tierney to rest the other day, but clearly he doesn't trust Niles. Saka, Martinelli, I'm gutted for him. I hope it's not a serious injury. Yeah. I didn't actually notice until the game started. I think I was watching you guys build up yesterday, so I missed that tweet for he got injured. But after I heard that, I was very, very gutted. And he looked like he was crying, so that was very painful. I hope he recovers again, but we need to start resting these players soon.
Yeah. Any other words about what Gary was talking about in terms of saving the players and keeping them fresh? Like, Emile Smith Rowe has come into the team now, and I've got a list of what he's done in 4 games. I know it's a small sample size, and we're talking maybe Emi Martinez sample size again. But if I list everything out, against Chelsea, he has an assist for the Chelsea game. He passed the ball to Saka. Whether Saka intends to chip the keeper or not is open to What did you think about that one? Did he intend to lob that over to the Chelsea goalkeeper?
We have not had too many W's this season, so I'm taking that as a win, and I say yes. This season has been tough for us, so any little positive we can get, we take it, Ray. We take it and we run away with it. Yes, he meant it.
What Emile Smith Rowe has done in 4 games, then he's got 3 assists plus 1 goal. He's got the goal yesterday. He assisted Saka for the Chelsea goal. He assisted Saka again at West Brom. And it was his shot that was stopped off the line. I'm calling that an assist for Lacazette's goal against West Brom as well.
And let's not forget he's also recovering from injuries. I think he had so many different injuries. That's why he's not been playing. So he also needs a rest. Like, I know people are saying against West Brom, I wanted Martinelli to rest because I know he's recovering from an injury and he had played 3 games before that. That is how I see Smith Rowe too, because he also had a couple of injuries. So he needs to start resting.
Yeah, so for a sample size of 4 games, they have 3 assists and 1 goal. Tony, that is great numbers for Emile Smith Rowe. And yeah, it's very easy to get gassed and hype this young player up. Especially people saying the level of competition. There's always that caution. Well, you haven't played anyone. Well, we played Chelsea. Well, Chelsea didn't turn up. Well, we still beat them 3-1. You know. How do you factor Emile Smith Rowe's rise in the last month, Tony?
I think he should have got chances earlier. It's stupid sticking Willian as in the 10 row. He just kept on struggling and struggling. Why not play Rowe and see what he has to offer? Now he's playing and we see what he has to offer. So Arteta stubborn cost us some points.
Now he's playing. It's so hard now for Arteta to go ahead and not play him. So hopefully we can manage his fitness. I'm glad he didn't start yesterday's game. He's getting some rest. And, he's showing the value to the team now, coming on and scoring a vital goal. Someone tweeted earlier, it reminded them of Paul Merson. And if you ever have a chance to go back and watch Paul Merson and some of his finishes, I agree with that. It reminded me of a young Paul Merson. Tony, we're going to start off with you. You're going to award a Tony Don Juan man in the match, and we'll get a little bit more time to talk about the 2 goals in more detail. But who's your nomination?
Before we get to that, you put Glenn in a bad mood.
Yes, that's because mentioning Willian all the time, Gary. Thank you.
A little bit of payback.
Oh, that's not nice at all. Oh,
yeah.
Man. I mean,
I could see he was holding on to that there, Gary, for a little bit.
Thank you, Tony.
So for me, but
thank you for noticing.
To me,
Thank you, Russ. I like Pablo Mari too.
Tierney for me.
Another one for Kieran Tierney.
Yep.
Look at all of these people though, Tony. You can't turn this down. The Assembled and Russ has said Pablo Mari. And Tish said Willian was better than Nelson and Willock. Yeah, marginally, right?
Yeah, it was.
All right, so you're definitely giving it to Kieran Tierney. No ifs, ands, or buts. Tony?
Yep.
Up the Boomer Sooners.
What is up with everybody?
Rule said man of the match, Tierney. Gary, weigh in on your man of the match.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Tierney. I mean, I feel Marie and Louise did well back there, but I also feel like that they weren't playing to attack us. So for me to get, if that's where the ball was, then I felt like that's, and they made that many stops and stuff like that, then I would, could see that. But I think with what we had to deal with up front, with them playing like nine guys at least behind the ball, I think I'm gonna, go give it to my captain, I guess, Tierney, dealing with what he had to deal with. Yeah. So, I mean, like I said, that was one of those games where it was hard to see it, and then you look at the end, the last 20 minutes of the game, and you're like, wow, that's the big gap that we have right now. So, I mean, Marie, you definitely could have gotten it, but I mean, I think it was Tierney because I don't think the defense had to work as much, right? So that's kind of where I don't feel like they stood out as much. So that's my thinking there.
A good defense will always give you that basis to go on and win the game. But
well, you're talking about a good defense when the opponent isn't even trying to score.
I haven't. Yeah.
How can you say that?
I'm not giving the man in the match to a defensive player.
No, but what you said defense, and I would agree with that if we were like playing like a Man City or something like that, and we were able to win 2-0 in the last 20 minutes of extra time because we brought in our backups or something like that. That would be nice, right? We play Man City, and in the last 20 minutes of extra time, we win 2-0. Then I'm gonna say that's a defensive. We had a defensive, stronghold here, but yeah.
Yeah, no, I was just saying, listen, the defense can give you the basis on which to go forward and win the game. But for me, I think we've seen a great young player move forward. Emile Smith Rowe, the intelligence of that player to nick the ball, as we said before, get it to Saka and understand that Saka is playing the ball to Lacazette and he needs that support. Lacazette, of course, Tony, we got to give Lacazette props. He wonderful intelligence of the player to understand where the runner's coming from. And Emile Smith Rowe chests it down and just wonderfully steers the ball into the corner. So I'm going to give it to Emile Smith Rowe. Also, Bernd Leno's got to get a shout out. We wouldn't be in the cup if he hadn't made that save. So, Glenn, with all of that said, what's your shout?
Yeah, I want to talk about that Nitish comment first. That where he said Willian was better than Nelson and Willock.
Tongue in cheek, I'm sure.
If Nelson and Willock are on level 1, it's not that hard to be a level 2. So that's just how I see it. Like 10 levels, if one is a level 1, it's not that hard to be a level 2. So it's not that he was bad.
He got you to say the W word.
Yeah, if someone comes today and they've never watched football before, they'd think Willian is such a good player.
Yeah.
He said it again. He said it twice now.
So when Cedric and Murray is around, so my man of the match, I'd say between 3 players. That's Leno, as you said, because he saved us. We were going out. If it was Randerson, we'd have conceded. Murray, I agree. Although the likes of Carroll got plenty of chances, like 4 or 5 chances, and also, but he kind of dominated them. Like I know he did well, but he kind of won everything on the air, like everything. He won everything. So I was worried about that, but I'm going to give it to Tierney, as Gary said, he's captain. I have to give it to him. I know you can say Steve Bruce is boring and all that. They didn't come to score, but also the other reason why we look like we didn't have to defend is because of people like Tierney. So comfortable on the ball. No, one mistake, as I said, but other than that, so comfortable on the ball. In the first half, when you don't have Saka on the right, when you don't have Smith Rowe, when you don't have those kind of players, sometimes even Bellerin, like that pace on the right, even though he has not been doing it this season, Cedric was very poor in terms of going forward. Tierney was our main attacking threat from the left, and he's a defender. First half, created that chance for Nelson, should have scored, should at least have shot the ball instead of dilly-dallying on the ball. He's the reason why Aubameyang got the goal. I saw you guys saying earlier that people have like a problem with him. Those people who have a problem with him, they need to be sold this January because he's our best player right now. He's slowly becoming my best Arsenal player right now. He's overtaken Aubameyang and he's just slightly ahead of Saka. As I said, very comfortable on the ball. Later, there's a time I think it was Carroll who was trying to like fight him and push him and shove him, and he stood up to him. Doesn't take any nonsense. Very, very good. I also take into consideration the game against West Brom. Everyone else wearing gloves, and he's the only one not wearing gloves. We have a king in the team. So Tierney, man of the match. Our best creative spark in that game. Again, Willian and Pepe should be ashamed.
Yeah, well said. But the Tony is the Don Juan, and he has nominated Kieran Tierney, so I'll get behind that as well. Kieran Tierney, man of the match.
And the way he attacks players, right? The way he attacks players, no one at Arsenal takes on players. Pepe cuts to the
very direct.
left, cuts back to the right, left again, corner. Gets the ball, loses the ball. Cedric didn't do any of that last night. So Tierney, every time he had the chance, not like literally every time, even if he didn't have the chance, he just ran past the opponent and tried to make something happen. Positive, positive, positive. So yeah, him.
Will said aerial battles should be bread and wine for centre backs. That's all Murray and Luis all day. Tierney was asking Newcastle questions all day. Newcastle right backs were scared. Natish, thanks for joining us. I said Willian was better than those two, but he gets abused because he's a former Chelsea player. But his end product is not there, apart from the first game of the season. Cedric never goes forward. He plays like a centre back. We had a problem with Callum Chambers. What the hell is Cedric? Tish, the crazy gunner, cares if he is ex-Chelsea, really. If he was playing well, no one would care. And that's the thing. If Pepe's playing well, you don't think about 72 million because he's playing well. If Willian is playing well, you don't think about the amount of money. Maybe Tony thinks about these things, but you don't think.
Can't get it out of my head.
Tony, if our team was playing well and they were performing, would that make you less worried about what we're paying them?
I just don't like him taking spots from the youth players is my thing with him. He just hasn't been performing, and even if he was, I'd still be wanting to see the youth in there more.
Okay, Tony, it's coming to the part of the show where you might have to cover your ears just a little bit because we have to give credit to the X-Man.
Oh no.
Gary, Granit Xhaka came on and stabilized midfield a little bit. Willock was a little bit lost at sea. Unfortunately, it didn't work out for him yesterday. Granit Xhaka comes on, plays a great pass inside the fullbacks with Tierney. Frees up Tierney, and Tierney assists another. I was talking about the assists Emile Smith Rowe's had, but Tierney's had quite a few assists now in the last few games as well. And he's got Aubameyang off and running with a goal.
You know what's funny is I didn't see who made that pass, but I think that's just because of the way we play. When that ball comes out and gets out to, to Tierney or to Saka on the wings out there, it goes so fast usually that I don't realize who made the pass sometimes. And Xhaka has played, like I said,
Tony does.
That's what you want. I mean, sometimes you just want it to flow and you don't realize where the ball's coming from, but he comes out on the wing and next we get the score. And like I said, he playing with the players in front of him, they make him look a lot better, right? You've seen in the past when he's playing with different players that just aren't playing well together, he's lost out there, and we just see him, the bad Xhaka, and we just don't get the best out of him. I mean, he's playing with some better players, and it looks okay. Can we do better there? We definitely can, right? We definitely can. But with what he's got around him, sometimes better players around you make you look good. Do we extend him? No, but does he fit into the system? Does he come as a backup and help us out? I think so. I mean, we're still looking for a starter. I don't think any, So, yeah. I mean, if we have to depend on him in a big game, then that's when it comes to light where he is, right?
That's when he gets a red card and sent off.
Right. So that's this game, Newcastle in a FA Cup with probably some backups here and there filled in, right? He's gonna look good. But in the big games that we're going to have later on in the season, if we play the Spurs again, is he going to be able to look like he did against Newcastle? Probably not, right? I mean, so that's what when we say we don't want him. It's not because of what he just did in this game. He should do these types of things when he's got space and when he's not threatened as much as they don't have to lean on him. I mean, I think once you start putting in Emile Smith Rowe, Saka, Aubameyang, and then Laka, and they're all in front of you, it makes life a lot easier, right? Especially when they're all in form like they are right now. I mean, Aubameyang maybe, but if that was Martinelli, there'd probably be even more space and time for him, right? Because that they have to be concerned with those front four the players that we have. So, yeah, we made his life a lot easier. He's taking advantage of it like he's supposed to. So we'll take it, but that's where I kind of do. We want him to stay? No.
No, I definitely agree with you. We have bigger challenges ahead. Tony's cautioned me on the time here, so we are going to wrap it up. Any final thoughts? And listen, thanks everyone for hitting the like button. If you haven't at this point in time, just smash the like button before we get out of here. I was thinking about the title for this show. It came to me this morning. Back in the ESR. Arsenal don't know how lucky they are. You know where I got that from, Gary?
I think there's a song out there.
There's a song out there called "Back in the ESR." Arsenal don't know lucky how they are. How lucky they are, Glenn. I might have messed with it, but you know what I mean, right? ESR could be a great player for us going forward, Glenn.
He already is. To be fair, already is. I think it was at the start of December. To actually show you guys how quickly it's come up. I don't know if you'd be able to see, but there was this video where the title was Emile Smith Rowe scores against Everton in the under-23s. That was in the start of December. He was playing in the under-23s, and to come to the first team, be on the bench for a couple of games, and right off the bat again, the next 6-7 games we've been depending on him. He definitely deserves everything he gets. I'm very happy, apart from the red card. I'm very happy that got overturned. From here on, it's just win and win after for him, and also for Shaka, Tony, and Gary. Also for Shaka is, as I said in the chat, boom Shaka Laka Saka. Shaka is the mango.
And
Shaka
we want
is the mango.
We want to maybe get
mango juice.
Should we get a Patson Daka as well, Glenn?
Yeah, boom shaka laka saka daka. Yeah, you can't make the mango you can't make the mango juice without a mango, and Shaka is the mango in that combination, and he needs to play every day. But no, what frustrates me about him is the consistent fouling and consistent going head to head with fans saying, they're not speaking now, all that. I'm doing my talking on the pitch. I don't like all that. I think it's already too late for him. He's already, like most of us already don't like him. So even if he plays 100 games very well, I don't think we'd trust him for the 101st game anyway. So I think it's already too late for him.
All right. Tony, final word. Say something nice about Granit Xhaka.
He passes a ball good backwards.
Yeah. I like that one. That was kind of nice. He plays a good back pass, Gary.
Which is good, which is a good thing. I mean, we've seen Kolasinac can't do that. Remember against Tottenham last season? A back pass straight to Heung-min Son. So that's a good thing for Shaka. Yeah, that's important. Right, passing backwards.
Next time you're on, we won't call you Kolasinac Keitley.
Yeah, that won't stick. That won't stick. Maybe he won't even be around, right? Maybe he'll be gone. So
you'll go up to a Colonel Mustard standard, Kalasafi.
Yeah.
Hey, what was that type sub? Gets with assists, scores a goal in 25 seconds.
I went over, right? 25 seconds over, right?
Yeah.
Tony and Glenn, thanks for joining. Gary, final words, or forever hold your peace till Thursday.
Yeah, no, I'm once again looking forward to the next game. And hoping to hear something good about Martinelli as far as, recovery. I mean, I don't expect to see him playing, So, hopefully Partey, if he's ready, he'll be on the bench at least. And, if he can play, then we should play him, right? If he can play more than 30 minutes, then he should start, right? If he can't, then he's coming off the bench, and then he'll hopefully be part of the starting 11 going forward after that. So that'll be nice. Martinelli, hopefully, it's just an ankle sprain and nothing more serious than that. a lot of times these ankle sprains seem worse than when you break them. So
Yeah.
hopefully that's kind of what it is there.
Yeah.
But we can wait, and I always said we can wait, and if we had to wait, based on what we've seen and what we've seen so far, if we have to wait, then we should. There's no rush.
No rush, definitely. The assembled, thanks for joining us, and Tish, Russ, Morgan, Glenn, thanks for coming in.
I'm really happy to. I'm really happy. Just one more thing. I'm really happy to be back. I always watch you guys, and you always do great work every single time, even though crazy hours. Like the one on Thursdays, usually like at 4 a.m. over here. So I really, I love all the content you're doing. By the way, Ray, it's been 1 year since the first time I came to Arsenal Circle. That was the FA Cup last season when we were starting, and I remember that day. Terrible internet. I was on like 40% on the phone. I was super scared. That was my first ever live stream anywhere. So that's why I always have respect for Ray and Arsenal Circle. I remember that show, you, me, I think it was Ben, also Hopes, and I think my hair. I always remember it very well. So yeah, I'm happy to be back again, and I always come back when I have the chance to.
Yeah, and listen, you're doing great things with your own channel as well. So like to promote everybody who's out there. And Gary, you can catch, I always say, you can catch Gary at all hours of the day. All right, Tony?
Moderator, comments.
Yeah,
this is your home, Gary. So
yes, I know.
But listen, the future is bright. We've seen an FA Cup. We won it in August last year. I'm not saying we're going to win a trophy. I can't be that crazy and say we're going to win a trophy this season. The hope is that we will. You never expect to win a trophy, but you always hope to be involved in the competition. But as we said on this podcast, Rule, thanks for joining as well. We hope that the young players can be a big part of the future. And if that's the case, all we need to do is go out and spend wisely. And that's a whole different podcast. Go out and spend wisely. And the future could be bright in the next couple of years, Tony.
Yeah, to me, it's more important to sell wisely. That's been our biggest mistake, just giving players away.
That's a good way to finish this podcast. Let's sell more than we can buy in this window, and let's get some money in. Let's get some players out. Thanks for joining, boys, and we will catch you on the next one. Come on, you Gunners, up the Arsenal. Catch you Thursday night, and we'll